Good morning, Warzone kids. We're still here on the Moonlight Miles section of the trail. That's what I call the part of the path to the Western Lands after you know you're changing your life and you want to do something different, but you don't know what that is. You don't have to. You don't have to see very far down the trail. You only take one step at a time, and that's all you need to see. I talked a lot about two out of the three pearls of healing that I carry with me in my rucksack: Zen practice, healing circles, and Jungian analysis. Jungian analysis is up next, but I want to talk about something I took out of me with with me from the healing circles at Hidden Water, and they've got what they call a model of healing. I mean, a way they think about it. And they call it the path from harm to healing. Or maybe they call it the path to healing from harm. But I have found it really useful just to have in my mind. It's got three phases. The first phase is, they call it coping. This is what your life is like before you get on the path to the Western Lands. Before you use a word like healing, or before you even think about, like, I gotta do something different. Coping. For me, I'm an addict. So anything addictive, an obsession to use and a compulsion to continue on using. And the using could be anything. Drinking, any kind of drugs, gambling, sex, changing jobs, changing careers, reading books, anything that can be done compulsively, that you have a obsession with and a compulsion to keep doing, or a compulsion to do and an obsession to keep doing, obsession and compulsion. These are all ways that I've avoided in my life. Bulimia, when that's what's afflicting me, I don't feel any feelings. I just noticed that I've got done stuff in my face with about 3 days worth of meals. And then I think, well, that was already unhealthy. I may as well go heave it all up. That's the healthy choice, Ben. It ain't. Because there's no black. Painters have different shades of black. Jet black, coal black, lamp black. Are those all the blacks? I don't know. But heaving black, that's what I'd call it. And it's exactly the same shade as unconscious black, which is how black things are when they're afflicting you in your mind, but they're so far away from you. Even though they're in your own mind, they're so far away that they're jet black, like a black hole. Heaving black is the same color, because I've checked with other child sex abuse survivors I know, and they'll all confirm it ain't no black like the black when you stand up from heaving your guts out and you're putting your pen or whatever you use to heave back in your pocket, and you look at yourself in the mirror with your red face and your watering eyes and your burning throat. There's always a mirror right there for me. You look up, you see your face in the mirror, and the conversation you have with yourself ain't great. It's not great. That's black. That's part of the coping phase. Binge eating. I'm a compulsive reader. I can decide to get interested in something. Next thing you know, I'm reading hundreds and hundreds of pages about it. Anything like that. That's coping. That's whatever you're doing to deal with the Jenga tower that you got up here in your mind. That's coping phase. Many people never make it out of that. Jails, institutions, and death. Or just you go to your grave. Coping. Man, is that tragic. The next phase is, they call it the facing phase. You come to an awareness that the stuff happened to you wasn't right. For people that do not have child sex abuse or other early childhood trauma as part of it, but particularly child sex abuse, it's hard for people to believe that you could be a mother-son incest survivor like this guy, or a father-daughter incest survivor like several people I know, or a brother sibling incest survivor, or any kind of child sex abuse survivor without knowing it. I understand your incredulity. But I'll tell you that it is, I will say universal, maybe I'm wrong. I'll say it's universal characteristic of child sex abuse that it yanks you, it splits you into at least two parts. The part that knows what happened and the part that has to live in the world like it didn't happen. And ask around. That's universal, I'll say. Split you into two parts. The part that is dealing and knows what happened, and the part that has to live in the world. And both of those parts are capital A alone in the world. Capital A alone. Nothing like it. You're alone because you're not even with yourself. I'm a writer. I like spending time alone, and when I'm alone now, I'm with myself. I'm with myself. What does that mean? Well, it's an experience. For most of my life, when I was alone, I was alone. The part of me that knew the reality of my life was split off, alienated, and thousands of light years away from the part of me that had to live in the world. Both parts were alone. Both parts were right in here. The part of me, the coping phase, as I see it, as this pilgrim sees it, the coping phase is what's going on when the two parts of you, when the part of you that was alienated, isolated, and kicked off to the side, that the part of you that knows the reality of your life is trying to get back home, is trying to get back to the part of you that has to live in the world. And it's screaming. And that screaming is too loud to be ignored. So you turn that screaming into slamming dope, or eating peanut butter, or gambling, or screwing everything you can find to sit still, or whatever you do. I need to learn about ancient Egypt. That empire lasted 3,000 years. That'll take me a while to get my arms around. That's the part of me that knows what the reality of my life is. That's it screaming to get back home. Screaming my name. And when I don't listen to it, it screams louder. And then it stops screaming, and it turns into dope to slam or peanut butter to eat, like that. You get the idea. So the facing stage is when you face what happened to you. And I would say, this is Ben's edition, don't blame Good and Water for this if you don't like it. I would say that the facing stage can be thought of as the part in the process where you turn around and start looking for yourself. I will say that. Facing stage is characterized by anger and conscious pain. You become aware, you start feeling the pain that you've been avoiding. Many people go back to the coping phase. I've done that numerous times. But there's anger and rage as part of the facing stage. The quest for justice, which you ain't going to get framed in the terms that you probably frame it in your mind, because you can't change the past. And the quest for justice, when I unpack my own quest for justice in my mind, my own rage and anger, It all kind of circles around the desire to go back and have all this never happen. I want to be the Ben I would have been if all this hadn't happened. That Ben don't exist. There ain't no way to get back to the place where it never happened. It's a fool's errand. But when you're full of anger and rage, the only way to get through it is to get through it. You got to experience it. It's no shortcut. That is a shortcut. I take it back. That is a shortcut. Going back into the coping phase is just you're knocking another day off your number of days, and you're spending another day in suffering. Anger and pain are better than suffering. Anger and pain are part of facing your reality. And the third phase, which is real, Warzone kids, the third phase is real. Letting go and moving forward. The third phase is real. That's what happens when you find yourself suddenly thinking about your actual life and thinking about things you might want to do in your life now, in the present. And you just notice that you're not obsessed with rage anymore. Your mileage may vary. I'm reporting my experience. That feels like that's where your life is in the phase 3. I have to stop myself from saying that. Phase 3 is where your life is. That ain't true. Your life is right wherever you are. If you're slamming dope, heaving into a toilet, making arrangements to have some random sex with someone, and also gambling your mortgage money away, all at the same time, that's your life. That's where you're at right now. That is the sum total of your life. Life doesn't start some other time in phase 3. If you're full of anger and rage, that's what your life is. That's where you are. You have to take today's steps on the path. That's all you can do. But you can know from one of your fellow child sex abuse survivors that phase 3 is real. It's a thing. And I can tell you that none of these phases are necessarily linear. It's not like you take 1,000 steps on the phase 1, then you get to phase 2, and you take 1,000 steps and get to phase 3. It's not linear. You wake up and you got anger and rage is one way to experience it. You might come on it slowly. You might come on it quickly. You might wake up and realize that you're living your life in phase 3 with a feeling of peace. You might come up on it slowly. And I'll tell you something else about these 3 phases. My experience. They could all 3 be happening at the same time. The complex and complex PTSD means there was a lot of different stuff going on in your life over a long period of time. And if you got borderline like this guy, or you live with borderline like this guy, I believe that you probably got that way by growing up in an environment in which people that took care of you were probably that way, and they put you into situations where you had to learn how to live in a very chaotic, erratic, betrayal-ridden, pain-ridden, love and hate mixed up kind of way. And you can sneak up on that. You can suddenly become aware of that. And all of these things can be happening at the same time. You can let go and move on from some things that happened to you and still be coping. Ask me how I know. I can still look down and find a peanut butter jar in my hand and not think there's anything wrong. But I know that if I look down and there's a jar of peanut butter in my hand, I'm stressed out about something. It's all right. That's what's happening. You get full of anger in the quest for justice, that's all right. You can be moving on from one thing, angry about something else, and still coping for something else. It doesn't all have to happen all at once, but it can all happen. And you can just know that they can all happen. And wherever you're at. Phase 1, this is worth saying. Phase 1, the coping phase, mired in suffering, This can include physical ailments that would boggle your mind to think there's anything psychogenic about them. Psychogenic meaning, I think, that it's a physical malady that has its origin something to do with the psyche. There is some kind of powerful mind-body connection of some kind that works in some kind of way. I don't know or care how exactly. It ain't my job. But the number of people, I can think of a few women I know, that have rare maladies related to the female reproductive system and seem very much like they're also related to their experience. You can have all kinds of physical ailments that somehow or another, because you are a whole, you're a whole being, whatever language you want to use, you are a whole being. Body, mind, and soul, whatever you want to call it, you're a whole. So that's a little map to the path toward healing from harm, whatever language you want to use. And you might just think about those things in your own life, how they relate to you, how you relate to that idea. It's a snowy day on the trail, Pilgrim, but it ain't nearly as cold as it was yesterday. It's 22 degrees, balmy. Where's my shorts? Let's get in a few miles today, Pilgrim. Think about them 3 stages on the path toward healing from harm. It's the Moonlight Miles. We got a lot of miles to go today. Take a few minutes. Ponder on that in your own life. Daylight's burning, Pilgrim. Let's get after it.